Back with some more KJK VIP Prizepicks NFL player props for this week to slate. Excited to get into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to be breaking down. I just locked in two 6-pick flexes. Did send them over to my VIP members. Looks like we got some bumps, some changes in the lines, so you're not going to be able to get every single one of these props, but I did want to help you out with some free value here on the channel. So rather than, leaving you hanging with some plays that have been bumped, I'm going to give you two tickets that I did just lock in myself, that I did just share with my VIP members. I'm only sharing plays that I'm actually playing, that I'm actually backing with my own money, that I'm actually sending into my VIP members on this channel. If you are new, breaking down the process, letting you know all that goes into picks so you can see it live, all of the data that's going into these plays. And then if you choose to, and you want to get access to all my plays as soon as I place them, so you can avoid those bumps, because when you get good value, these lines are going to change like crazy. So for instance, David Montgomery, 13.5 rush attempts. You can see he's now up to 14 even. Why is that? Because Prizepicks has gone ahead and said that's too good of a play. We got to change it to 14 even so we don't get beat too badly. That's the name of the game. That's what I teach over there. That's what I'm constantly doing. So we will be breaking it down. And like I said, I'm going to be sharing two 6-pick flexes with you for free. So you can just go ahead and mix and match whatever plays you'd like. I'd recommend taking the ones that have not bumped. By the time you see this video, there might be multiple bumps. There's already been removals as well. You'll see some props taken off the board. All signs that your process is good, on point. If you are a new user and you have not signed up for Prizepicks, you go ahead and use the promo code KJKDFS at my link down below. When you play $5, you're going to match you $50 instantly. So take advantage of that offer. And lastly, once again, the VIP will be over on Patreon, patreon.com/KJK_DFS. Once again, all my links down below. That'll hop you in the Discord so you can get access to these plays as soon as I place them, so you can beat those bumps. As you see, this is the ticket that we're about to break down first. Pacheco's already off the board. Rico Dowdle got bumped. David Montgomery got bumped, etc. It sucks, but that's just kind of the name of the game. When you're getting good plays, they're going to take them off the board or bump them. So let's break this thing down, man. First guy we're going to talk about is Geno Smith. I like the over 32.5 pass attempts. First thing we need to discuss is we did already get confirmation. Kenneth Walker is listed as doubtful in this one, the star running back for the Seattle Seahawks. So, their top running back, their top guy in the backfield, they will not have this week. I do think that's going to lead to them having a little bit more of a pass-heavy scheme. And they're already a pretty pass-heavy offense as is. We go ahead and break this down with our handy-dandy tools over here at Outlier, guys. Once again, another resource on the channel. They're going to hook you up with a nice 7-day free trial with my link down below, so take advantage of that. I'm trying to teach you my process and trying to give you guys as much free value as I can on the channel. Partnering up with these guys so that I can have a link where they're going to give you those 7 days free. Take advantage. 32.5, you can see he is hitting this at a pretty high rate over his last 10, 60%. A lot of these games he's going way over, but what I would really like to see is the Seattle pass versus run rate. As you can see, 61% of their plays they're running are pass plays, right? So they're 61% split compared to just 39% on the run to pass ratio, which obviously is fantastic when we're taking an over on a passing attempts prop, right? The other thing is, across the entire market, we're seeing a lot of places where he was listed all the way up to 33.5. He was actually all the way up to 33.5 as of yesterday. We've seen him come back down to 32.5, but he's still listed at 33 on a lot of different markets. If we go ahead and pull up another handy-dandy tool that I like to use, the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer for Mr. Geno Smith, you are going to see we can scan the entire market. Once again, another very valuable tool. You can get a nice discount with my link down below, so take advantage of this. Those get 25% off. Geno, 32.5 pass attempts are giving this a 51.64% chance for him to hit his over. You can see he's listed at 33 already on Underdog Fantasy. They've gone ahead and bumped him up. So if we were to go over to Underdog Fantasy, we can't even get the 32.5 line. They've already bumped him up to 33 because it's such a good play. They're saying, like, we can't get beat too badly. They're changing the line. That's how this works on these apps, okay? They got to change the lines so they're not getting beat too bad. 33.5 on hot streak. So with all of this data, we have minus 135 a juice on the over on Fliff. If you're new to sports betting, you don't know what that means. You'd have to risk $135 to win 100 essentially. Once again, they're saying it's too likely he's going to go over that line. We're going to make you risk more than you're going to win. The Seahawks passing a ton. No Kenneth Walker this week. Everything pointing towards a pass-heavy attack here for Geno Smith this week. Okay, so that's going to be the first prop that I did have on one of these 6-pick flexes. Second is going to be the David Montgomery 13.5 rush attempts. As I had stated, guys, it did get bumped up, so I can't control that. That's just a sign that my process is on point, right? But I do want to be explaining the process and breaking down the plays on these videos so you can kind of get a sneak peek as, all that goes into it. Once again, David Montgomery, there's going to be some good value. So Prizepicks has gone ahead. They've shifted the line. They're saying it's too good. I was able to capture that and lock it in. Break it down here for David Montgomery. We're going to go with the rushing attempts. He's at 13.5. You can see this is his best prop in the entire, well, I do have it sorted by rushing attempts, but the implied probability on David Montgomery, if we take away that and we look at his top props in the entire week, his over touchdowns, they're heavily favored. Under 1.5 receptions is heavily favored, but this 13.5, we're looking at a 55% chance implied probability for this to hit, which is fantastic. All these different odds, he's at minus 133 on Caesars. He's all the way up to minus 135 on the over on BetMGM. So all of these different places favoring his over, and he's hitting at a 70% hit rate over his last 10. When we're taking the rush attempts, we would prefer for his team to be heavily favored in the game, just because if his team is up, they're going to be running the ball more. Obviously, if they're trailing, they're going to have to pass the ball to come from behind. We look at this game in the implied total, the Lions are a minus 375 favorite. They have a 29.5 implied team total. Buccaneers only a 22 implied team total. So the rush share is there. Good value on it. It's already been bumped up. His team's heavily favored. There's a bunch of different things pointing towards him being able to hit this prop here this week. And then obviously we would like them to be running the ball, and he needs to be involved in that rush offense. 44% run rate for the Lions. David Montgomery is getting the bulk of that. Leads the entire team with a 43.8% rush share for this offense, so we love to see that. Jahmyr Gibbs is getting a little bit of, the carries with a 36.4, but it's Montgomery leading the way. And then when we look at the red zone attempt share, Montgomery leads the way again, getting 47.2% of the red zone rushes. So he is going to be their goal line back when they need to punch it in. And he does lead the team in rush share. All good things pointing towards the over for him here for that second prop, right? Rico Dowdle, it's going to be the same thing. He did, unfortunately, get bumped up here. Prizepicks has gone ahead and said, it's just too good of a prop. We have to change the line to 9 so we don't get beat too bad. That's just how this works. I was able to capture that value real quick. For Rico Dowdle, I mean, he's a little bit of a different story here because he is kind of in a split role with Ezekiel Elliott, but his line's lower. Just keep in mind it's only 8.5. You can see the hit rate's been a little bit all over the place, but a bunch of different books are favoring his over heavily here. Minus 135 on the over on DraftKings, minus 135 on the over on Caesars, minus 135 on the over on Bet365. You got minus 140 on FanDuel, BetMGM. And then on Underdog, all the way up to minus 159, they've altered the payout on this prop. So another example on Underdog Fantasy, I mean, it's a good resource to be looking at. They have very advanced models that, really lock in and change these payouts, or they'll bump the lines up and down, etc. They're only going to pay you 0.89x on the prop, which Outlier is calculating, what the percentage juice would be, or what the actual juice would be if this were on a sports book. For us, they're doing the math, which you can see it's all the way up to minus 159. So all really key indicators. 17th in the entire league are the Saints as far as rushing attempts given up. It's really just where the number is, and then once again, all of that Vegas data telling us, all of the different things as far as rush share, the amount of running plays, 41% run rate for the Dallas squad, but once again, they are heavy favorites, so if they're up in the game, they're going to be running the ball. That's all factored into these odds, right? It's a minus 275 as far as the line for the Cowboys, 26.5 implied total, 20 for the Saints. Same story, if they're up in the game, they're going to be running the ball a ton. It will be Zeke, it will be Rico Dowdle, the 1-2 punch, and we like Rico's rush attempt. The rush share, this data is going to start to get updated more and more on Outlier as we continue along. We're only 1 week into the season. We still have Tony Pollard listed, but Rico, it's Tony in Rico last year. Now it's Zeke and Rico. Rico was getting 19. We're looking for that to obviously increase with where these lines are set. Rico's at 8.5. Zeke was at 11.5. So very clearly more of a 50-50 split situation this year. And that's all factored in. Like I said, FanDuel, Underdog, all of these different books, you're heavily favored. You're getting minus 119 implied odds on Prizepicks in a 5 or 6 pick flex. So we love that. Really good bang for our buck. Really good play with good value. Unfortunately, that line changed, but I just got to explain the process. Jake Moody, 1.5 field goals. same thing. We're looking at some good value in the market. We want to be taking advantage on Prizepicks where we're getting minus 119. We sort his props by implied probability. You know, which props are they saying that we really do like to hit here this week? Over 1.5 made field goals, 54% implied probability, really good. Bunch of different markets favoring his over. Minus 130 at BetMGM. Underdog, once again, all the way up to minus 159. We're getting minus 119 on Prizepicks, so we want to be taking advantage of that big time. Over his last 5, 60% hit rate. If we're cheering for field goals, obviously we would like for his team to have a high implied total. That's implying, you know, they're going to be putting up points on the board. When we look at the Vegas data for this game for the San Francisco 49ers, we're looking at a 25.5 implied team total. So, you know, do some simple math. That's essentially, you know, 2 touchdowns, a couple field goals, 3 touchdowns, a couple field goals. You know, Vegas is just favoring all this. All these sports books are telling us there's a really good chance he's going to knock 2 through. This is all factored into my process, right? Taking these props. Isaiah Pacheco was an amazing one that did get removed. I mean, it should have. There's some serious juice coming in. You can see he's only listed as a demon now on Prizepicks. So this is a good example of a prop that wasn't posted for long that I was able to capture and take advantage of that had some crazy good value. Because, I mean, he is a crazy heavy favorite to get in the end zone this week. If we sort this by implied probability, you can see over 0.5 touchdowns, which is the prop we're taking because it is rushing and receiving on Prizepicks, as you can see in my slip, which is a big deal. It's not just rushing. It's rushing and receiving. So no matter what, we're essentially just taking him to be a touchdown scorer. And this guy's like, I mean, seriously favored to get in the touchdown. You can see he's hitting at an 80% hit rate over his last 10 games. Minus 130 on FanDuel, minus 145 on DraftKings, minus 159 on Underdog. He's all the way up to minus 175 on Caesars. This prop was an amazing prop that did not last long. So unfortunately, you're not going to be able to lock that in with me in this slip, but I just did want to explain, once again, the process. You can take the plays that have been bumped. So far on this first slip, we've gone over Geno Smith pass attempts, Jake Moody field goals, and then the CJ Stroud prop is still going to be available as well for you guys that are tuning into the free content. So unfortunately, you're not going to be able to get all the plays I did, but that's why I do offer, you know, the VIP, because these lines are just going to change like crazy. It just is what it is at this point, right? When you're getting good value and you're getting props that are going to hit at a higher rate, they're going to change. It just means you're doing your job right. CJ Stroud rushing attempts, you know, it's going to be the same thing. The market's going to reflect that he is expected to exceed these rushing attempts. The first thing I want to mention that a lot of people don't know is knee downs at the end of the game. If a team wins the game, you know, the last couple plays, they need the ball to run the clock out, do count as rushing attempts. So that's a big deal, and that is factored into all these odds. And we can see Sunday Night Football, Texans are a minus 275 favorite. So being that his line's only at 2.5, 3.5 kind of deal, lower in their favorites at the end of the game, the fact that he's going to kneel is a pretty big deal with this prop. So that's just something, a little fun tidbit, little fun fact if you didn't know that. You know, that's certainly going to help this prop hit. And we look at the implied probability for these rushing attempts for Mr. CJ Stroud. You can see 54%. Caesars really aggressively favoring this over, minus 148, minus 135 on BetMGM, minus 130 on 365. Underdog Fantasy, once again, all the way up to 174. Like, they're like, we are not letting you take this as a standard prop on our platform because it is just simply too likely to hit. It's all the way down to a 0.86xx multiplier on Underdog Fantasy. So the fact we're able to get it as a standard prop on Prizepicks makes us really happy. You know, the odds are in our favor for him to get 3 or more rushing attempts. He's hitting this at a 50% hit rate. Do think, once again, like the knee downs at the end of the game are going to be a big deal for this particular prop. You know, essentially, if he runs the ball one time throughout the game and then he knees the ball twice to end the game, we're cashing this prop. I do think that's factored into these, you know, implied odds, all that fun stuff. You can see 3 and 4 the last couple of games. We're once again getting some good value on it. And like I said, I mean, that's factored into the odds, but it makes a lot of sense. If his team's favored, there's a good chance we're going to get a couple of kneel downs at the end of the game to go along with the upside of his rushes throughout the game. So a sportsbook's like a Caesars, if you were to go there, you'd have to risk $148 to win 100 to take the over. They're saying this is so likely to hit. We can get really good value on Prizepicks at minus 119. If you are a FanDuel user, you can actually get minus 118 over there. So I would recommend you can lock that in on FanDuel if you're playing on FanDuel Sportsbook. That could be a good place to be locking in this prop. And that's my full 6-pick flex for the first ticket, right? So that's the breakdown. Once again, as you can see, I'm actually locking it in. I did actually send it in to my VIP members. It's a 1-unit play. You can't capture a lot of that, but that's why I'm going to be breaking down this second play for you as well for free on the channel here, because it's week 2 of the NFL season. I want to be helping you guys out with as much value as possible. This was the other ticket that I've just locked in and sent over, right? Let's go ahead and bring it up on my account, break it down for you. So, Mr. Brock Bowers is the first leg. We like his over 3.5 receptions. Why do we like that? Let's go ahead and pull up our handy-dandy outlier tools. We'll break it down for you as always. Look at all of this different data being dumped into these props, guys. All of this different stuff, all of this Vegas data, sportsbook data, trending statistics, right? These are all things that are going into my plays. The implied probability, we want this to be as high as possible. So 54% is really solid. If you're new to sports betting or if you're new to these player props apps, like if your prop has like a 55% chance to hit, that's really, really good stuff. That's how you win long term. You're just looking to get as many props to hit, you know, like 53, 54, 55% of the time as possible, and then grind it out long term. He's a rookie, drafted high this year, first game, 6 receptions. So, you know, that's fantastic. We're still getting this updated data. Once again, the 2024 data is going to be loaded in here shortly as far as the target share is concerned. But we could certainly break down his target share in week 1. How many targets did he get? How many receptions? You already saw he cleared his receptions prop by like a mile in week 1. He saw 8 targets, 6 receptions. Honestly, the fact that he got 8 targets and his line still set this low kind of shocks me. Like, I really like this prop. I mean, the guy got 6 receptions in week 1, man. I like his odds of being able to get 4. And if we are targeting receptions prop, you know, we wouldn't mind if his team isn't favored, because when a team is trailing, they have to throw the ball more, right? We talked about that with those rushing attempts. We'd rather the team be favored. And the Raiders are pretty heavy dogs here. Very heavy dogs. The Ravens are minus 450 favorites. So if they get down in this game, obviously Gardner Minshew is going to have to throw the ball a lot to try to come back. Those targets should be headed Brock Bowers' way, as we saw in week 1. So we love that, right? So that's going to be play number 1. Once again, we can kind of type into Daily Guy Fantasy and scan the entire market as well. We have a bunch of different books favoring his over pretty aggressively here, right? Minus 125 on DraftKings. He's all the way up to minus 140 on BetMGM, though. Fliff, he's all the way up to 150. Hot Streak, minus 143, minus 131 on Parlay Play. So a lot of these other DFS props apps that you would have to go over to are charging some pretty aggressive juice compared to Prizepicks, where we're getting minus 119. You know, we're getting some really good bang for our buck on the Prizepicks platform in particular for this prop. So that's our first guy. We like Mark Andrews as well, another tight end that's going to be a target share beast in this Ravens offense. We know that he's actually in the same game here. So we can pull up Mr. Mark Andrews, implied probability for him. We want this, once again, to be as high as possible. You know, what's Outlier telling us? It does look like they have some interest in his fantasy score here as well. And his receiving targets looks, you know, pretty exceptional. But FanDuel, once again, some pretty good value on this prop. If you're a FanDuel user, man, take advantage over there. But as far as the 3.5, he's been failing to hit this pretty consistently as of late. But not too concerned about it. Did just return from injury. And we have all of these books, man. Minus 142 on Caesars, minus 145 on BetMGM, minus 145 on Bet365, minus 150 on Underdog, minus 154 on Caesars. These are like crazy odds in comparison to the minus 119 we're getting. So yes, please, a ton of different books. And Underdog Fantasy and Prizepicks, once again, are like the 2 sharpest as far as these lines on these props apps. And they once again have his line shifted That's all factored into the outlier platform. They're doing this math for us. They're only paying out 0.9x, 0.91x for that prop, which weighs out to minus 150 odds as far as the sports betting world. You'd have to risk 150 win 100 on Prizepicks, and a 5 or 6 pick flex. We're only risking minus 119. So we're getting a really good deal on this prop here this week for Mark Andrews. Love that. Anthony Richardson, 7.5 rush attempts, same thing. I don't think this prop hasn't gotten bumped yet, so fantastic. So the Brock Bowers receptions, the Mark Andrews receptions, still available. Anthony Richardson's still available. Matthew Stafford's passing touchdowns did get taken off the board, his standard prop. So unfortunately, you're not going to be able to get Stafford anymore. In this slip I talked about, there was multiple removals. His passing touchdowns was taken down. It's just too good of a prop. So there's another one that I was able to lock in that's going to be gone now, but you can mix and match the ones that are still available. Anthony Richardson bumped on underdog as well, I know, and a ton of different value coming in on his over on these rushing attempts. So let's look at his props. Let's sort this by implied probability. What are the best props on the entire board for Anthony Richardson? What are they telling us on outlier for these rushing attempts? 7.5. Green Bay, 26th as far as allowing rushing attempts to opposing QBs. That makes us happy. Or rushing in general against them. But same thing, minus 164 on underdog. 140 on 365, 140 on FanDuel, 137 on Caesar, guys. We're getting 119. He's heavily favored to go over this. We really like that. And when we're comparing to underdog fantasy, they're shifting our payout. They're shifting your payout because they're saying this is such a good prop. It's heavy. There's a heavy chance it's going to hit. We're going to shift it down. We're not going to pay you as much to take this. It's too likely that you're going to win. So the fact that we can't get it as a standard prop on underdog fantasy, we can get it as a standard on Prizepicks. It's very noteworthy. Once again, these are the kind of the two biggest guys in the industry when it comes to these props apps. So like their lines really matter. Comparing them to one another can be beneficial. The Stafford passing touchdowns is no longer available, unfortunately. You might have guessed it because I got good value, and it's going to be taken off. But we can certainly break it down, like implied probability on Matthew Stafford props this week. What are we looking at for his? Over 1.5 passing touchdowns is a 55%. So this is like incredibly good, especially for the Prizepicks platform. Like if you're getting 55% implied probability on a prop, it's really good. Arizona ranks 30th in the NFL, so they've been awful. I mean, that's literally dead last, giving up 1.9 passing touchdowns against per game. Stafford's hitting this at a 60% rate. And, no surprise, Arizona's giving up a ton of points. His team does have a pretty high implied total, which we obviously need if we're going to be targeting an over for passing touchdowns. We're going to need him to throw 2 touchdowns. And his team is implied to score 2 or more, maybe 3 touchdowns with a 23 implied team total. So we need 2 of those to be coming through the arm of Stafford. You can't get it anymore. It's just too good of a prop. So they went ahead and took it off the board. So that's how that works. I'm just breaking down the process of my plays, kind of explaining to you kind of why they're not available. And then rounding things out for this video, like I said, I'm giving you all these plays, man. You can mix and match them. You can run them however you'd like. You can pick your favorites. Mike Gesicki is going to be the over 2.5 receptions. Let's go ahead and break down Mr. Mike Gesicki. Implied probability again for him. What is outlier telling us? What are the props that we really like here for him? Over 2.5 receptions, 54% implied probability, which makes us happy. As far as the matchup, 6th best are the Kansas City Chiefs, but Gesicki taking on a much bigger role here. You got to factor in, there's new teams, etc. He is on the Cincinnati Bengals now. We're looking at a much different, role for him as opposed to last year in a different offense. He is the tight end 1. And if we look at his week 1 targets and all of that fun stuff, how often were they going to Mr. Mike Gesicki? He was targeted 4 times, 3 receptions. So that's some pretty solid targets. 4 targets will certainly take that. Clearly looking his way. And the efficiency was really good. He caught 3 of those. So, we could see that climb up to 5 or 6 targets this week, I think, is the case. We only need 3 catches for this prop to cash. Like his odds of doing that. And then Harrison Butker for the Kansas City Chiefs. Kicking points. Another prop with some really good value here that has been shifted on Underdog and is heavily favored on all of these other, props apps. He exceeded this in 4 of his last 5 games. Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes leading the way. Obviously, they have a very good offense. We just pulled up this game. They have a 27 implied team total, so they're expected to put up a ton of points this week, which obviously we like. When we're talking the kicking points, you get 1 point for every extra point that the kicker makes and 3 points for field goals. So essentially, we want him to make, either 3 field goals or get 2 field goals and 2 extra points. And with his team having a 27 implied total, it's very likely that he's going to do that. He is favored on all these books, minus 133 on Caesars, minus 130 on BetMGM, minus 130 on DraftKings. And if you were to head on over to Underdog Fantasy, I've been talking about it throughout this video. A lot of these props are shifted or bumped. See, he's actually up to 8.0 even. They're saying it's too likely this prop's going to hit. We're going to change it up. So we can get the 7.5 on Prizepicks. And it does look like this prop is still available for you guys that are listening to this free content. Hopefully you can lock in as many of these props as possible, trying to provide you guys with a bunch of different free value. These are, once again, actual plays that I'm playing, actual plays I'm providing my VIP members. So if you're new to the channel, you're looking for someone to listen to that's going to explain their process and give you actual plays. I'm not sure you're going to be getting 2 tickets from me every week, that's for sure. I'm giving out a ton of free value to start the season because I really just want to help people out learn and give you a little sneak peek as to what I have to offer over there in the VIP. So I'm giving you 2 6-pick flexes. Unfortunately, you can't get a lot of these plays. Pacheco's, touchdown, you can't get anymore. It's gone. Rico Dowdle got bumped. David Montgomery got bumped. So there's 3 you can't get there. And you can't get the Matthew Stafford passing touchdowns. Pretty much all that means is, those are the best props that I got. Those are the highest ones, highest likelihood to hit. Because they're no longer available, they had such good odds, they're going to take them and bump them. The same is going to happen if more of these plays get bumped or removed. They're just saying it's too likely that that prop's going to hit. So there's 2 6-pick flexes. Hopefully you enjoyed the content. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. Went ahead and broke down the process. Check out Outlier Guys. I'll have a link down below for a 7-day free trial for them. It's the tool we use throughout this video. A ton of these different props, and also check out Daily Grind Fantasy for someone that likes to do your own research. And then lastly, if you're someone that's really busy or you're just looking for a reliable source, to help you out, give you some guidance, give you plays, the easiest thing is going to be to hop right on over into that VIP in my Discord. I do all the research for you. I'll answer any questions you have, get all my tickets as soon as I place them. You can get advice from me on props, etc. Tons of different value over there. Not to mention I have a university tab that breaks down like all the top types of plays you should be playing on each app. I talk about bankroll management. I have a bunch of different resources to help you succeed long term. If you are interested, would love to have you join. Wishing you all the best of luck on your Prizepicks NFL Week 2 player props, and we will see you in the next one.